Hello, my seniors. Happy Monday. As you know by now, I'm not in today. I'm recording this for you on Friday, anticipating not being there on Monday. A few things I want to do with you. I thought we'd do a little AAA. There's a couple articles that I want to share with you. A couple are just, I think, interesting, and then one directly relates to economics. Those of you, there were a couple classes who were interested in continuing the seminar on Monday. We'll hold off on that and we'll consider picking that up again on Tuesday when I'm back so that I'm there to hear it and participate in it. Today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to move on now to preparing for the next seminar. And let's talk about what that is. I think if you have your unit descriptions with you. It should be easy for you to figure this out. Here we go. Here we did, in the first seminar, we did these first two. We did capitalism in America, and then we did U.S. industries as participants. The next one, I want to do these three topics right here together, the next three. So we'll do American experience with tariffs, we'll do NAFTA, and we'll do Trans-Pacific Partnership. Those three. So that's what you should start working on. And we'll debrief and talk a little bit more about how I thought the seminars went and get some thoughts from you about how they went too on Tuesday when I come back. Let's do just a little bit of AAA now, and then I'll let you go to get ready for the seminars. I look at this. A sperm whale washed up in Spain, and it should have been a perfectly healthy creature. In fact, it was considered a young. You can see the word young here. And so as they were trying to figure out what went wrong with this creature that weighed 13,000 pounds, which I know seems like a lot, but as an adult would actually be close to 120,000 pounds as an adult. What they found in its stomach was, as you can see from the headline, 60 pounds of trash, fish netting, and garbage bags. And basically, all this garbage got into its digestive process and caused inflammation and eventually killed it. Plastic bags, ropes, netting, even a plastic drum, for crying out loud. Remember when we looked at the Pacific Vortex, or the garbage patch? It's referred to as by different names out in the Pacific Ocean. Well, here you go. This is what that garbage patch is doing to some of our creatures out there. Then I thought I'd show you this. I thought this was pretty fascinating. So you see the headline here. This man expects to run a 2-hour, 50-minute Boston Marathon on Monday. My daughter-in-law ran the Boston Marathon last year. And Bree is, one of these people, very fit, runs all the time. She ended up running it in about 3 hours and 25 minutes, something like that, 3:25. And so when I saw this headline, I thought, 2 hours and 50 minutes, and he's got a cast on his head? What is the deal? Well, he is an Ironman, basically. He participates in Ironman competitions. And last October, he was in Hawaii getting ready to participate in the Hawaiian Ironman. And he was out on his bike warming up, and he got run into by an SUV pulling into a gas station. And the accident resulted in him breaking the vertebrae just below the base of his spine. Here he is, just out on his bike around Colorado. He broke the vertebrae that would be right down in here, right below the spine. And he chose to try and fix it in a way that was a permanent fix. And the only permanent fix is to have this halo, they call it, this halo attached to your head that, as you can see, is designed to basically keep your head completely stable, completely stationary, so that that back piece in your neck has a chance to heal. Because if it's moving all the time, right, it's not going to be able to heal. And you can't tell from this angle, but these holders here, these are actually drilled into his head. See this? These are actually drilled into his skull. And he had to have them re-drilled because he was working out so intensely that his head was swelling and basically these holes got enlarged. So they had to re-drill them. And I noticed if you look at where they're positioned here, there's no space in between them. And then you notice here, you can see that they've re-drilled them. They've moved them over time. So this crazy guy, this crazy Iron Man, breaks his neck, wears this halo, and now says on Monday, I'll run the marathon in 2 hours and 50 minutes. Just to give you some perspective on that, I know that my daughter-in-law, who is a crazy fit runner, ran it in 3 hours and 25 minutes, right? That's a really good time for a recreational runner. The winner of the Boston Marathon will run it in probably 2 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. So this guy who has been wearing this halo with this broken neck is going to run it about 40 minutes slower than the winner. I just thought that was amazing. And I saw this yesterday at a time when I was wondering, do I really want to run my 3 miles tonight? Do I really? And I saw this dude and I thought, oh my God, yep, I'm going to go run my 3 miles. If this guy can do it, I sure as heck can do it. Talk about an inspiration. Interestingly, part of what's motivating him is economics. He doesn't have any other job. And in fact, he's never actually had a traditional job. All this guy has ever done is participate in Ironman competitions. And so he gets prize money because he wins, and he wins quite often. And he also has sponsors. Somewhere down here in the article, I believe, it talks about the sponsors that he has. And it says that his sponsors did not bail from him. They stuck with him even after he had his accident, which is really pretty amazing if you think about it. So sponsors, of course, means that there's people paying him to wear their logos on his jerseys and stuff. So he's making money from having these sponsors. And so, part of his motivation for being so crazy about coming back and doing this is that it's how he makes money. It's how he feeds his family. And so he's taking some chances just to be able to come back and have a shot at feeding his family. Okay. Lastly, then, I wanted to show you this. And you can see this is from, a day or two ago, New York Times, April 12th, so yesterday, meaning Thursday. And want to sell fighter jets to India, make them there. This idea of a global market. This is a fascinating article for a number of reasons. First of all, it talks about how India originally, when it became a country back in 1947, it decided to basically rely on government-owned companies to make its military equipment. And it soon found out that the government manufacturers were not producing a product of high enough quality for them. And so then they started to look to outside buyers. And the article essentially talks about how much money India is looking to spend on military equipment and at the American companies that are looking to benefit from it. So for example, the biggest prize is India's plan to buy up to 110 fighter aircraft worth $15 billion. And Boeing and Lockheed Martin, two American companies, are both trying to win this contract. And part of the way they're going to try to win it is they're going to work with Indian-based companies, because India is saying whoever wins this contract must assemble the planes in India. You must assemble them here. And notice it says must be assembled. It doesn't say the parts necessarily have to come from India, but that the planes themselves have to be assembled there. And it's fascinating to see how this global economy works, because both Boeing and Lockheed are in the market to win these contracts. If Lockheed wins it, there are 250 people in South Carolina who might lose their jobs, because Lockheed would have to basically assemble all of these in India. The article speaks in terms of them losing their jobs. I'm not so sure that would happen. I think they might very well get asked, at least some of them, if they'd want to move to India. I would think Lockheed would want some of them, in fact, to be in the manufacturing process. But of course, the wage difference between what they pay their South Carolina staff and what they could pay their Indian staff probably significantly different. So maybe some portion of them does in fact get let go, and some get asked to move to India. Wouldn't that be weird to come home from work one day and tell your spouse that you got asked if you want to move to India, and you look at your teenage kids that are in school and all that, and you have to make a decision about whether you pick up and take off. Pretty fascinating. At this point, I love look at these numbers. India's military at this point vastly outspent by China. See, in America's interest in this is India is a friend of ours, and India could serve as a counterbalance to China's influence in that part of the world, in the Asia part of the world. And so far, China spends 3 times what India spends, but India is ratcheting things up, including wanting to create its own nuclear-powered submarines. Remember, India is a nuclear power, and India wants to do all this now using private companies inside of India. Here's the reference to, since India gained, or after India gained independence in 1947, it relied primarily on government-owned military suppliers, right? Sounds like a socialistic sort of setting. But those companies have a mixed record on quality, execution, and technological innovation. So now you put it out there for bids, and you get all these companies around the world, including companies in Europe. There are going to be some French companies that will want to participate in this, right? There'll be some global competition. And the requirement will be you assemble them in India, you have an Indian partner, and basically at some point then India basically acquires the ability to make all this stuff itself. Global world, global world, global world, over and over again. Okay, spend some time, enjoy yourselves. Expect that we'll rock and roll on this next seminar as early as block period this week. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.